Victoria recovered a new memory on camera. She has always remembered being raped by her father, but not this rape by him.
Just talking about this right now, one memory comes right up. I'd forgotten all about it. He goes into the refrigerator. I was a teenager. My bedtime was 10 o'clock. So let's say it's 11 o'clock and I'm asleep and I'm in my room. Not allowed to have locks on the doors, not allowed to, And he went to the refrigerator and he opens the refrigerator and he wanted something. And I don't remember what it was. Something he wanted. And he says in his swearing, God damn it, Victoria took this of mine. And he slams the refrigerator door, which again, remember I told you I wake up when I'm hearing things. So I'm hearing that these goddamn it, Victoria's, and he slams the refrigerator and he stomps down the hallway, throws open my door and he slams my door. And then he proceeds to fondle and do his behaviors. Then he yells at me and he leaves. And I'm just like, I don't even have a clue. And so I feel like what I'm remembering in this talk is how often I was set up to be in trouble so that he had access to me. I was born to teenage parents and they got divorced. So my mom was 16, my dad was 19, and I was 3 when they got divorced. I didn't remember having a dad. And so court cases happened and he refused to pay child support. And finally he got remarried. And when he did, the stepmother paid child support. So then I instantly had a father and I was 8 years old. I never knew his name, didn't know who he was. So I went to meet my father when I was 8, and I used to call him Phil because I didn't feel comfortable calling him Dad. And I started to, looking back, I can see that I was groomed. Like I had a really serious injury around my genitalia area. And I remember being paraded in front of him to look at and I wasn't comfortable being naked in front of my father. Then just constantly being set up or being like cornered or alone with him in uncomfortable settings. But I, as a child, thought, well, I don't know him very well and I'm not sure. Then I went back to my mom. When I was 12, I went back to my dad again. He was going to get he was threatening to have me kidnapped if I didn't get to go visit him. And so when I got to visit him, then he enrolled me in school and I ended up staying because my mom wasn't stable at the time. And that's pretty much when the grooming again resumed, where the fondling and touching, and then actually was clearing a path for the incest that occurred. But the words and the language was, you've asked for it, or you're curious, or it's about you, or you want this, you've asked for this. And so the situation was, obviously at night, in the evenings, he'd creep into the room. Unlike many people who all of a sudden the memories all come forward, I've always known I was abused. I've always known I was targeted. I've always known that he would creep into the room at night. What started to come through was other situations I had forgotten, like being trapped behind the house or being walked down, learning how to drive and then pulling off onto a road. You're the first person that I've reached out to, then a few people, like, with there's really detailed things that happen. It's a lot of people don't understand. And I'm in a place where I can share it. I'm not emotionally attached to the experience, but I know it's painful to share, but it doesn't cripple me to share them. My father had ancestry that was Jewish, but they had all converted to Christianity probably 3 generations or 4 generations before. But he'd found this family thing, and they all denied it, and they all declined it, and they all didn't want to believe it. And he wanted to. So he became kind of like a Messianic Jew, a Jew for Jesus, and wanted me to learn about Judaism. So I went to Israel. My dad had a girlfriend on the side of his marriage, and she got pregnant and had a baby, and he wanted to get her out of town. We lived in a very small town. So she got the ticket and went to Israel with the baby, and my job was to take care of the baby. Partway through, I decided to become a little bit independent, and I put myself into school. And that's where I met Gobby. He loved me when I didn't love myself. And then I learned to love myself. That's what I can give to this. He loved me when I didn't love myself. If
That's
I was
beautiful.
overweight, if I was, because I had an eating disorder because of this. It impacts me when I'm stressed. A lot of times I'm an emotional eater through the pain, but I've been working on that through exercise and a lot of talking and healing. He did pay the price in the relationship because sometimes I acted out my anger on him as a male. And he would tell me, he says, I feel like I'm being persecuted for something, that's not me. What I did was I embraced Judaism and released the fundamentalist Christian part. My Christian family kind of was very upset that I became Jewish, but it resonated with me for several reasons. But the thing about Judaism that resonated so much was it's a family-oriented faith. You have Shabbats together as a family, you have holidays together as a family, you meet once a month. And so not having a family connection, that family bond of the faith was really, really strong for me. And so I resonated really quickly. Gabi's family, I'm this just orphan Annie, 18 years old by myself in Israel. They adopted me immediately. I was before we even were like, we were friends first and then we dated. They just embraced me immediately. I had 2 sons and I was grateful because I in my mind, I said, I can't deal with raising girls. I just can't. What had happened to me, I just couldn't deal with it. But I have granddaughters. And I remember I just became so overwhelmingly sad. I was like this little girl, and why couldn't the adults in my life, take care of me like I need, like that she's gonna get. And I was really sad. I was really sad. And I shared that with my older son, it was his daughter. And he said, Mom, aren't you grateful that that what you went through didn't pass on, and your granddaughters will never have that, and they are so loved. And it was so wise of him because I was pretty emotional. It's like, what happened? Why wasn't I able to have that? And he said, yes, but what you went through will never happen to them. If we can be the ones to block the family traditional historical trauma that went through my grandfather to my dad to I don't know how far back, that it doesn't happen to my son and my grandchildren and their grandchildren, then I don't want to say it's worth the price, but it makes it more manageable to deal with those memories, knowing that won't happen to them.